Identifying.
Stand by one. Let's go. Let's go.
You're about to experience the uncensored conversations, stimulating wit, and the thought-provoking wisdom. Bold, raw, and uncut. Right now, on the LanceScurv Show.
The Florida woman accused of being a serial date robber arrested. A Florida woman who was accused of drugging and robbing several men of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry and other items was arrested. Yomna Fouad now faces charges of grand theft and is being held without bond after being accused of stealing the precious items from men that she supposedly went on dates with. Fouad was arrested after she was spotted by one of her victims outside of a nightclub on Miami Beach. When I saw her with tattoos on her hand, that's when I knew automatically that it was her. The man, who didn't want to be identified, told NBC6, "I was waiting outside to go inside the club, and she was going out of the club. I walked up to her, and I was like, wait a minute, this can't be what I'm seeing." She looked at me and said, "I don't know you," and she tried to run away. The man said that he had gone out with Fouad and the date had gone well enough that he invited her back to his place. We had a couple of drinks. We went upstairs. She started giving me a massage. The next thing I knew, I woke up in the morning. She was gone. Noting that when he woke up, he was missing his Rolex as well as clothing and jewelry and cash, all of which totaled $32,000. She had an innocent face. "I was not expecting that from her," he said. "Something like this definitely caught me off guard."
This 21-year-old would prey on men at swanky spots like Club Live here on South Beach and other places, targeting them for their pricey jewelry, many times their watches.
It's like it could happen to, anybody. But
This victim agreed to speak anonymously about what he says happened the night he met 21-year-old Yomna Fouad in late March. Our victim says it all started after a night out here at Dream on Washington and 15th. He says he met Miss Fouad out here as he was picking up his car from valet.
she suggested that we go back to my house. So I said, all right, no problem.
The victim says this surveillance video shows him entering the elevator at his building with Fouad in the red dress. Here's what he says happened next.
I wake up, drugged, not knowing what's going on, and all my stuff missing. Like, I felt violated. It was something I was not expecting at all.
Fouad spotted in the elevator again, this time wearing the victim's shirt and carrying out about $30,000 worth of the victim's clothes and jewelry. Fast forward to 2 a.m. Saturday, and our victim runs into Ms. Fouad here at Rockwell, Miami on 7th and Washington. He says he recognized her right away from the tattoos on her hands.
It's like a henna style tattoo. When I spotted her out and I said, that's the girl, the security ran after her and held her, and so the police came.
Fouad now faces several charges of grand theft and using a false ID. At a court appearance today, it was revealed that at least 10 different police departments are now investigating similar claims as far north as New York.
They're investigating more than 20 cases.
I'm happy I'm the one to be able to put that to a stop.
And this woman also allegedly used aliases such as Rebecca Arias and Shakira Wilson. She also changed her hairstyle and her look to sort of adapt to new situations. So if you think she looks familiar, if you recognize her and think you've been a victim, go ahead and call police.
You got to be careful out here, men. Everybody has to be careful because the game of club going, the game of picking people up, the game of meeting people, it's multi-layered and you really don't know what you're getting. Like I always say, you have the right to smear chocolate cake icing on feces, but don't get mad when you take a bite. How many of us from up north where it snows as a kid have gone outside to play? Or we're just walking down the street and we see all of this pretty snow. It's so beautiful, isn't it? But you don't know what's under the snow. And sometimes when you step by the curb, you step into feces because you didn't know what was under it. The bottom line is, when you go to these clubs, it's a facade. It's a game. I'm quite sure many nice people go to clubs, but you have to understand that it's a jungle out there. And here you are, brother, walking around with a Rolex watch, Your clothing and jewelry and cash added up to $32,000? You know that there's some people out here in the United States of America who have to work 2 years to make that money. And you're walking around worth that and what can be taken from you. I'm not hating on you, brother. Enjoy your life. But you said she has an innocent face. So what? Most killers, most people who are shysters and who will do the most devious things, they know that most people go on the external to judge who they are inside. It's amazing how people are just so dumb these days. I hate to say it. A Rolex watch and everything that you had on as far as clothing and jewelry and cash, $32,000. And she spotted that. And when she flirted with you and a date went well, you had a couple of drinks, that's what she came out there for. But understand that she's on a higher level being the predator that she is. Now, I'm not bashing women at all. But women know that there are women out there like that, just as there are men. But because this is the story, the way it went down, I'm going to speak about this particular type of woman and all those who are like her. Their look. That's part of their armor. That's part of how they get you. They make sure that their face is done right. They make sure that their body's in shape. They make sure to reveal just enough to titillate you, to get you to thinking with the wrong head. And here you come being nice. You see, you fell into the trap because obviously you weren't looking for a wife. You had a couple of drinks. You went upstairs. She started to give you a massage. She drugged you, man. She had no interest in you. And that type of woman, that's the way they are. In the hood on a lower level, many women who are like this do it on the installment plan. They will rotate 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6, even 10 men. One pays a light bill. One pays a cell bill. 3 or 4 collectively pay her rent and they don't even know they exist. She portrays herself as being very busy. So you feel as though you're lucky to get the little bit of time that you do with her, but she's getting something out of you. If you are interested in a woman and you are dating exclusively and you know her completely, yes, do things for your woman because you're going to make her your wife. And always do for your wife. Your wife gets everything. And that's the difference. You have so many women out here who are trying to nickel and dime it and get things from these men who are so horny out of their minds, they get taken off. And you know what? I really don't feel sorry for you. After a certain age, you got to get over that and you got to grow up and have some kind of control, because to not have that kind of control that you need in these shark infested waters of the dating scene. And it's not even about the dating scene. You could be married. They're going to come after you when they think you have something that they can get from you. They don't care about you. Yes, there are many good women out here. Take your time and find a good one. But to waste your time going out into these clubs and you see all of this good looking booty and the thighs and the breasts and the lips and these chicks are checking you out. They might go there and act like they're not checking you out now, but they're watching everything that comes through the door. Why do you think there's so many women who want to stand out in front of the club? Valet parking. Oh, you want to use a valet? You got money like that? Not that it takes much, right? But they watch the kind of car you drive up in. They see if you came in there with somebody else. And they're looking at your watch. They're watching you at the bar. And some of us men think that the only way to get to a woman is to flash money and play that role. Well, you're bringing the sharks down on you. But understand, they don't want you for you. And they're trying to take as much as they can when you flash like that. And there's ways of subtly flashing, because these women who are these predators in these clubs, they are sharks. They know the finer things. Oh, yes, they do. The dumb ones don't. But the ones who are experienced do. So even when you don't flash money, that belt you have on, she knows what kind of belt that is and how much it costs. Those shoes that you have on. When I used to work at Bijan on 5th Avenue, way back in the middle 80s, Paxad Bijan Paxad. Google it and find out who he is. He passed away now, but he was an arrogant person, but he was one of the world's top designers. Okay? He always told us, when you see a person coming in to the store or who wants to come into the store who doesn't have an appointment, because to shop at his store, you had to have an appointment. See, there's different levels to life here, you know. And I've experienced a lot, and I've been around a lot and seen a lot, whether you know it or not. He said, even if a guy has a t-shirt on that's a little dirty and has a hole in it, or the slacks might look a little worn, always look at the shoes. Always look at the belt. Always look at the subtle things that don't really tell it. Now, if he has a good watch on, it doesn't mean that he's a multimillionaire. He could be trying to front with a watch. But the shoes don't lie. And so, in this, since I brought it up, I'm going to talk about it. In his store, he would usually have maybe one customer a day. That's the kind of money that they were dropping. I mean, I remember Adnan Khashoggi, at one time one of the richest men in the world. He came there and took up the whole day shopping and hanging out and talking. And they had an area upstairs where they would sit down. It was like a living room, and they would serve you food and fine wine. And you had the whole staff there dealing with the one customer. And when they finished shopping, it was millions that he spent. This is what I witnessed with my own eyes. This is what helped to make my range and my consciousness a lot higher than those who just look at the superficial. I've seen these kind of people spend this kind of money. Texas oil guys, multi-billionaires, millionaires. And then I drive my bus through the hood and I look at the petty things that people do for a couple of cents. I look at how people push their chests out and up because they purchased a Mercedes-Benz, because they got maybe if they had a Bentley. That's chump change to some of these people that I've seen come in that store and drop millions of dollars like it was nothing. George Benson would always come there. There were other people who were big in business, who you didn't even know their name, but you knew they had wealth, not riches, wealth. Wealth does not disappear in that generation. Wealth usually wasn't accrued in that generation. It came down generations. You look at Paris Hilton, who is nothing but a narcissistic, attention-seeking whore. She is born into wealth. And she doesn't have to do anything more for it. She lucked out that way by picking the right parents. So we have people who bust their behind just to have a car in a parking lot of their job that may be a little more expensive than the next person, but while they're working their overtime, they feel better because I got a better Benz than you. I got a better Jaguar than you. But you're working so hard, you don't have enough time to sit down and drive it. And you're pissed when a year or two goes by and the new models come out. For real? Are you serious? So I don't play that game. I don't aspire for these things that are infinite and never ending. I'm not trying to die with the most toys, because there are people out there that are born into it and have way more than you could ever have. But if you do have, please don't flaunt it, because the sharks are out here. You have women out here who will do you, straight up kill you, have you set up, have you robbed. You just met this chick, man, and you brought her back to your place. Are you crazy? Could you imagine how much other stuff she saw? She might be setting you up. They work along with these guys. You wake up one morning with a machine gun in your face, and they'll take you for everything you have. So show a little control. Stop trying to go this superficial way. You have a lot of independent business owners out here who make a good chunk of change. I happen to know many people here online and many who have it that way because they've worked hard for it. And they do want to go out and have a good time. They do want to see beautiful young ladies, but you have to be careful. See, it's okay to go to the aquarium, right? And see the sharks as they swim by safely. But it's another thing to go to the actual beach and swim amongst them. And that's the mentality that you have to have. Because I would say, and let's take a poll, y'all. Let's figure it out. I want your opinion on this. How many women in the club? But for the sake of this poll, I want to keep it simple. Good or bad? How many are sharks? How many are not? Give me a percentage. 85% sharks, 15% not. 50% sharks, 50% not. Yes, I understand that there are many women who go to clubs with their girlfriends and they're not looking to pick up men. They're looking to use the club as a backdrop for their good time. I understand that. And whatever happens, happens. Maybe something can happen and those good women don't want anything to happen. But overall, with these high-end clubs, this is the real world, y'all. We have a lot of women who are passive sharks. They let you come on to them. You have others that come on to you. But how many are sharks and how many are not? I know, again, it's hard to simplify it, but let's just do this just off the top of our head. I want to hear exactly what your opinions are. Because all I know, not only is this just a dog-eat-dog world, but in the clubs, most of the time, it's a cat-eat-dog world.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LanceScurv.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under LanceScurv.